Hello everybody, welcome here to Musicians Edition. I'm Evan on the piano, and in this one we're going to be taking a dive into some theory, and we're going to take on the ever so feared circle of fifths here on the piano. So I was surprised, Musicians Edition, we don't have a video up on this that I could find for any of the instruments or for theory, so I'm happy to be able to try to provide this for you guys. As far as the circle of fifths go, we're going to try and make it clear and concise and just why you need to learn it and what it is, so we can try and get through this here, because this is a topic a lot of people avoid usually. All right, in our purpose here, the circle of fifths is used to identify the key of any song we might come across, whether that is you looking at the sheet, seeing the key signature. We can very quickly figure out what key it's in using the circle of fifths. Otherwise as well too, if someone tells us to play in a certain key instead of having to fiddle with the scale and figure out the notes, we can just think of the circle of fifths and know it right away. So those are going to be the two main applications for beginners, especially here. For more advanced players, circle of fifths can help you understand the relations between notes and chord progressions, as well as finding relative majors and minors easily and switching between keys that are related to each other that will make for easy key switches. So this is going to save us a lot of memorizing each individual note in every key, so we can be able to improv, play with others, have someone tell us what key, read that sheet and quickly know what we're playing in and what notes we're going to be playing. So we're going to use all that here. And all we have to memorize with this is one acronym. Only one. So our acronym is going to be F, C, G, D, A, E, B. And that is Father Charles Goes Down and Ends Battle. And the reason why we picked that for this acronym, all of us musicians, is because when you reverse it, it actually still makes a sentence, and we are going to reverse this, see it front ways and backwards. Backwards it is B-E-A-D-G-C-F, battle ends and down goes Charles' father. So same thing, just flipped here obviously, and we're going to look at it both ways, but it is just one acronym. That is the only thing you really have to memorize for this. And now we will let the circle reveal the rest and just go over how we're going to use that. So here is our circle of fifths. So if you do follow clockwise, you can see that's the way we're using Father Charles Goes Down and Ends Battle. You can see it on the multiple levels there. Counterclockwise, you can see we are using just that in reverse. Battle ends and down goes Charles' father. The placement of this is just what we're going to pay attention to and what is actually going on here, which is pretty simple. So the dark green on the outside, those are major keys, and the light green inner ones are just the minor keys, the corresponding ones. So for major keys, we start with C at the top, C major at the top, and then A minor right below it at the top. Those are the two keys that have 0 sharps and flats in them. And so that's why those ones go on the top. There's no sharps or flats. Those are all natural keys. And then we just fill in the rest of the notes around that. So for Father Charles, we're going to put the F before it, and then we can go Father Charles Goes Down and Ends Battle, all the way with those regular major notes. When we go to the left there, we have to fill in the rest of that side. We're going to use flats now, since we already used regular B, E, A. So we're going to use B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, just battle ends and down goes, and we finish on that G at the bottom. That G flat is the same as F sharp, so it's written twice there. And that is all of our major keys that are on here. Minor keys on the inside, so we have A minor, that is the relative pair of C major, so that one's at the top there, those two go together. We fill in the rest of that with the B's going counterclockwise, so B minor, E minor, A minor, battle ends and down goes Charles' father, finishing with F minor. And on the right side, we use the sharps to fill out what's remaining. Father Charles Goes Down, finishing with D sharp at the bottom. We use the flats past the F minor on the left side. We get B flat minor and then E flat minor. E flat and D sharp are the same note, so those are just put together there at the bottom, and that's where we end our circle. So our groupings here, we have the major keys on the outside and the minor keys on the inside, and they're grouped together by which key is next to it. The major versus minor, those are relative pairs, which you might know about. So they are relatives in that they share the same key signature, meaning those two scales have the same exact 7 notes that make them up. So C major, A minor, all white keys, naturals, no sharps or flats. And if we look to the right of that, you see we have G major and E minor. Those two are relative pairs and they both have one sharp. Look to the left side, we just followed the same thing all the way around. For the two scales, the relative pairs that have one flat, we'd see F major. And looking to the left, the pair that gets one flat is F major and D minor. So those are the relative pairs all grouped together that go together. And now widen your focus to the final level of this and how this is going to make sense, and that is looking at the sharps that are on the right and the flats that are on the left. So we already said C and A go at the top because they have no sharps and flats, and then we're filling out the rest going out with the relative pairs depending on the amount of sharps they have to make this out. So if we go right, we add one sharp for every relative pair there. So you can see as we go right, one sharp, two sharps, 3, 4, 5. Going left, we get flats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and keep going until we end up at 6 at the bottom here. And so you can very easily figure out how many sharps and flats are in each key using this. But we have another kind of hidden secret here where we're going to bring in our acronym again and figure out exactly what notes those sharps and flats are, because it's not too useful to just know how many they have. We need to know the exact notes in these keys. So again, our one acronym is going to come in handy at this final level here, and that is with the sharps starting off with F sharp, C sharp, all the way around, Father Charles goes down and ends. Those are all the sharps. So that is when there's one sharp, it is always an F. When there's two sharps, it is always FC. When there's three sharps, it's always FCG, and so on and so on. So when we see a sheet and we see it has one sharp on it, we know that is always an F sharp, and F is always the first sharp added to a key. So we see a key signature with one sharp, it's always F. We see a key signature with two sharps, it's always F and C, and so on, just one more getting added as you go right or clockwise around that circle. The other side going counterclockwise, we add in the flats using battle ends and down goes Charles. So those are going to be the amount of flats and which flats are in each of those keys. So again, just B flat if it's one flat there on the left, B, E flats, B, E, A flats all grouped together. So B is always that first flat added if we're seeing a key signature with one flat, and so on for 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, working around towards the left side there. So now we can see everything together here and really figure out the use in this pattern. So the one way we can be using this is we pick up a sheet, we don't know what key it's in, we don't know what the key signature is, so we look at the key signature, and the quickest way to figure out what that key signature is for the amount of sharps or the amount of flats is to just use the Father Charles goes down or battle ends and down goes, for sharp versus flat, and then the amount that's there, Father Charles goes down. If there's 4 sharps, it's always those 4 notes. Father Charles goes down, F, C, G, D. So that's the one main use for this, is seeing one sharp on there and knowing if it's one sharp, it's always an F sharp. Seeing 3 flats on there, 1, 2, 3, battle ends, and we know it's always those 3 flats every time. So we can very easily pick up a sheet and know exactly what that key signature is without having to count each one of those in there. And then the flip side of this is someone just tells us what key they want us to play in, and we have to quickly do this kind of the reverse way and think about, they just told me I need to play in B minor, for example, and I need to quickly think about what are all the notes in B minor without starting from B and playing that scale all the way up. So with the circle there, I can find B minor on the inside, and then I can look out and I can see it's got 2 sharps, F sharp, C sharp. So that is B minor, and then the rest are going to be all natural keys. And let's say it's E major. Well, E major is down here on the right with 4 sharps, F, C, G, D sharps, all the rest are going to be naturals. And that is how you would use it that way. So obviously you're not always going to have the circle right in front of you. You don't want to pull it out and show that and still look kind of uncool that way. So to get this memorized and just hearing that key and just figuring out what notes are going to be in it, the amount of sharps and the amount of flats, you got to kind of work on getting this mental image of it. So when I'm putting this together in my head, or what's good practice for you is to write it down and see how quickly you can write it all down, because you want to be able to go through this quickly in your head. So take a blank piece of paper, write this all down, and this is typically how I start it here in my head, or if I'm writing it down. So I know at the top is C major and A minor, and I know all the sharps are going to be on the right, all the flats are going to be over on the left. So with C major and A minor, if I'm finding a major key or a minor key, depends on which one of those I'm going to count from. Let's just start with a major. So I need to fill out the rest of this. So what's around C major in my Father Charles? It's Father Charles goes down and ends battle. So I'm going to fill out that right there with F to the left, and then going clockwise for the rest. And now to the left of that, I got to fill out the rest of those spaces. We're going to use the flats. Battle ends and down goes. Those are all of the flats that are going to be in there: B flat, E flat, A flat, and so on. Fill out the rest on the right side. Those are all the flats there. Fill out the last F sharp there. That's the same as the G flat, same exact note. I've got all of my majors put together. To put the minors together, what is around A? So I can think battle ends and. That one always goes counterclockwise, so I got to put the B to the right of it. So B, E, A, and then D, and fill out the rest of it. And then further going that way, I got flats, B flat, and then E flat. Finish off the last ones on the right side. I've got sharps now: F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, finishing with D sharp. I've got D sharp and E flat, which are the same notes at the bottom. And then from there, I just count, 1 sharp, 2 sharps, 3 sharps, kind of going all the way down at the bottom. Flat, same thing going down to the left there. And that's pretty much how I put this together. So I think about major or minor. So let's say I'm being given D major by my bandmate that I need to play in, or I'm just thinking about it because I want to play in that. So I'm going to start from C at the top. Let's think about it. Father Charles goes down. All right, I found D major. And how many away from C is that? That's Father Charles goes down, 2 away from C. That means it's going to be Father Charles. Those are my 2 sharps going to the right there. All right, or if I need to find E flat major, for example. So where am I going to find E flats? The majors are on the outside. The flats always end up on the left. So I need to count towards the left here from C. So I know F, and then B flat, E flat, because the battle ends. There it is. So how many away from C is that? From C, there was F, B flat, E flat. So there's 3 flats. And then I'm going to use B, E, A, battle ends, and I've got those 3 flats: B flat, E flat, A flat. And this all does work pretty quickly when you get it memorized, when you can really think about this in your head well, and it can just take you a few seconds to put together all the notes in that key, or the flip side, seeing that key signature and being able to figure it out, and what key that actually is for those 3 sharps you're seeing on the key signature. And that's that. So again, for beginners, using this to really find the notes in a key, or the flip side, what key has this set of notes I'm looking at. And again, for those more advanced players, you'll find this useful for understanding chord progressions, the relations between notes, as well as being able to make those key switches and know what keys are related to each other. And I didn't even mention why this is called the circle of fifths, actually. The circle of fifths, every one of these, Father Charles goes down, all these notes move up by an interval of a fifth. Father Charles goes down and ends battle. They're all a fifth if you were to jump between them on your piano. And so that just shows you it is exactly the circle of fifths, literally. And there's some kind of like hidden secrets with that pattern of using these fifths, because you can see all these keys are highly related to each other. They have very similar key signatures, and they help us learn more about music and understand these keys better. So have fun playing, have fun memorizing that circle of fifths and that one acronym you got there, and we'll see you next time.